What's up YouTube, Winterguard here. Today we're going to get into the Paladin changes on 2.4. We're testing on PTR right now and we're looking at various builds. And so I wanted to kind of touch base on some of the changes that were made, specifically with the auras and Fist of the Heavens. One of my favorite skills, but we'll see how it plays out. But I wanted to do some testing, not just with the full-blown Arden thing that everybody's looking at right now. It is OP. It does require a lot of high runes to make, so we're not going to really look at that. We're going to look at just the individual changes, not all of them. I'm not going to touch base on Thorns, but we'll look at some of the other auras, and we'll look at specifically at Fist of the Heavens and see how this shakes out. The gear on PTR is not the greatest to be testing with. But we do have at least a Haas. I did make a Hodo and a couple other things to try and kind of do, not really end-to-end game, but some stuff you might have by the time you get to Bail on Hell difficulty. So we're going to do some testing on those and just see what they feel like and see how they look. And if you guys think that some of these might be viable, I personally don't think the changes themselves individually make any particular build that viable based off of those. Again, this is not this whole full-blown Arden or Holy Fire build with the three Holy Fire in-game items you can make, or like the Arden with the 2 dreams. That stuff probably 1% of the player base is probably going to have by the end of ladder, so we can't really focus on those type of builds. So we're going to look at some of the other stuff. So if you enjoyed the video, give me a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or comments, post them below. Link to my Discord is in the description if you ever want to hang out and talk or ask me any questions. And let's get into it. Okay, so the first build we're going to look at, this is the Holy Fire Aura. I went ahead and stacked it, of course, to max synergies for Holy Fire. So if you look, max points here. The Holy Fire are gain synergies based off of Resist Fire and Salvation. So we dump max points in Resist Fire, Salvation. Now what this does, if you look at the actual benefits from the aura, this actually adds fire damage to your attack. So we went Zeal to take advantage. I actually didn't put max points there. And Sacrifice. So now Zeal's maxed. As many points into Sacrifice as possible to take advantage of Zeal damage. So if you look at Zeal damage right now, it's not bad. It's respectable. It's 36 to 5,300. So we'll do the little chaos test here. I'm not going to full clear this. We'll just do a little bit of killing here, just see how fast it looks. Let's set charge up here. So for the non-fire immunes, of course, this is not a problem. The aura damage pulse is okay. It's, you know, it's not going to be, as we just talked about before, the crazy Arden build. This is going to be based off of just gear you might be able to pick up or some early trading on ladder. This is not to display the potential end game of what you could put together, but leveling style of play here. So as you can see, the Zeal damage is decent. The aura is not going to kill everything right out of the gate. It's just adding some bonus damage while you're fighting. But again, none of these are fire immune, so the damage is decent. The problem we're going to run into with, and this is the case with just about every fire build, is that once you get into where you're fighting fire immunes, the damage is going to tick down significantly. We're not going to run Infinity. I'm not trying to get the endgame gear here as far as display. So as you can see here, River Flame, none of these are fire immune, so not bad of a fight through. A little slow, but we're playing a Zealer build, so just going to have to work our way through. Yeah, okay, so these are fire immune. And as you can see, a little slow going. Not horrible, but a little slow. So, unfortunately, with the Holy Fire aura setup, the Chaos is going to be a little slow, and you're going to run into the same thing into Whirlstone Keep as well, especially once you get to the Bell Waves because of the fire immunes. So, as far as viability, this is not a horrible leveling build, but once you get into Hell, of course, that's where you're going to run into problems when you start hitting more and more fire immunes. So, while the aura damage is, the increase in the damage is okay, you got to remember this is not going to be one-shotting anything unless you have the top of the gear, which is the dragon setup with Hand of Justice, that sort of thing, to really amp up the fire damage from the aura. And unfortunately, that is so expensive. You're probably looking at maybe 1% of the player base being able to attain that level of gear on ladder. So I don't like to look at that as part of being, you know, a viable setup. And without the ability to break fire immune, this build is subpar at best. Okay, next item up is Holy Freeze. As you can see, this is going to run in the same vein as fire, of course. It's basically the synergies for Holy Freeze are Salvation, and you'll notice the trend as we move forward. Holy Fire, Salvation, they all share this as a synergy, and Resist Cold is for damage. So as you can see, this one may be a little more viability in Hell difficulty. You're not going to see people running this though, and I think this is just not gaining any focus because this doesn't fall into the Arden setup. But we're going to take a look at it real quick just to see how it does. 1 second, let me finish putting in these points real quick. Let's go ahead and get up to max block. And dump the rest in Vitality. Okay, so again, this is going to be based off of Zeal. We'll go into Chaos. Now, this Holy Freeze does have a damage tick. Most people might not realize it because they normally use this with the Holy Freeze Merc. But even the Merc does a little bit of damage with this Holy Freeze. It's just not that noticeable, so you don't really see it outside of the effect of the cold. This does the same thing. It applies cold damage to the Zeal attack. So again, Zeal damage, pretty decent. This is actually a little higher than the Holy Fire was actually showing. Damage is not that bad. Alright, now we're going to run into issues with the Fizz immune a little bit. The cold damage will still stack on this, so in that regard, you'll still be doing a little bit of damage at least. I think in Chaos, this build does a little better. But this is again just going to be a suboptimal setup, so probably not going to see a lot of people moving forward to anything like this. Okay, next on the list, this is the Holy Shock change that they made with the R's. Again, this is probably out of the three, I would consider this one maybe the most viable, just because you will probably run into less lightning immunes, at least through Chaos. Whirlstone Keep probably be a different issue, but again, this is based off of an augmenting Zeal, so as long as your resists are okay, you could probably push all the way through endgame with this setup. This one's not too bad. I feel like this one will probably do the best if you're looking at a straight running Holy Shock as your aura. Again, this complements Zeal. If you look at the added damage to your Zeal attack, oh, let's actually add that. Zeal. See, your damage to the Zeal itself bumps up to about 11k, which is really nice. Again, this is not end-game gear. The R itself probably ticks for a little more damage. So let's just see how this looks going through the first part of this. As you can see, the damage is pretty solid. Okay, so we got a lightning immune here, so only thing's going to apply to him is physical damage from your Zeal attacks. But he still goes down pretty quick with the Merc's help. Yeah, these guys, of course, are going to be lightning immune, but the fizz damage from your melee attacks will take care of them easy enough. Again, I think this one will take you through. I believe you could do a Bale finish with this particular setup. Even with the lightning immunes you'll probably run into, your physical damage will be enough to get past that. Once you get into Chaos itself, the only light immunes you're going to run into are the ghosts. And you'll have enough physical damage to get past that. Out here, a little different story. There's several different immunes we've run into so far. Worst case scenario, reset and go back in with a different set of mobs. This Berserker Axe breaks pretty quick. Weapons wise, with just the options they gave us within 2.4 on PTR, I just grabbed this axe just because it's definitely not the best options here. I didn't want to make a grieve because, again, I didn't want to grab all endgame gear and go in here with that kind of stuff. So we'll go with what we got. Just have to repair that axe every time. But those wisps right there, that's the only thing you're going to run into here that are lightning immune, but they're not physical immune, so you can still beat them down quick enough. Everything else seems to be dying reasonably well. So out of the builds, I think this one, with regards to the aura changes, this one would probably be the best one to level with. I think you could clear all the way through hell difficulty, no problem. You might have to do a little gear farming to get through it again, and we're also in level 85, so you'll be lower level with your first clear. But I think this is doable if you were trying to if you're trying to level as a Zealer. I think this setup could be doable. Okay, last thing we're going to look at, this is Fist of the Heavens. This is one of the builds I was truly hoping would be viable in PvE. Again, I stress PvE, where it was really lacking. In the PvP world, these changes are probably a nightmare. With the cast changes and being able to spam this pretty crazy, which we'll see in a second. I think in the PvP arena, they're probably not liking this at all. So we're going to strictly focus on PvE. Take it for what you will. This is not meant to say this is bad in PvP. It is in a sense that in PvP world, this is probably going to be broken. So we're going to just look at the PvE portion of the content. So again, we're going to go ahead and go into, well, let me show you the build real quick. Alright, so pretty straightforward. Straight into Fist of the Heavens. Unfortunately, you have to put a point in every part of the skill tree here to get to Holy Shield, which is pretty standard. But to get to Fist of the Heavens, you have to put a point in both of these. So this is maxed. Holy Bolt synergy's maxed, and Holy Shock is the other synergy, so that's maxed as well. I went with Conviction Aura. That's what we'll be running. We're going to take it that you won't have Infinity that early. However, the rest of the gear is pretty high end. I wanted to see how much damage we could put out with this. So I do have a Griffin's on, and we're using a Hodo. Hodo's not too difficult to attain into ladder. It'll just take a little bit of time. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. And here's where you'll notice the spam damage. You can spam this like crazy now. The cast time has really dropped on this. And for those that don't know how foe works, it's lightning damage on strike. So we'll look and see how much lightning damage actually shows on the tooltip. Let's see. So right now lightning damage is 43 to 4400. So hits pretty hard. Unfortunately, and here's where I think it's still lacking and where changes need to be made. See the holy bolts that go spam out from there. These only affect undead. And they did not address that part of it, and I think that's what needs to be touched. They need to add demons to the list of what can take damage from holy bolt. See, if you spam holy bolt, see it's doing no damage to that.
Not enough mana.
See, that's a demon. And unfortunately, unless they change that, foe is just not going to be that viable. Again, in the PvE arena. See, those are undead. They'll take damage from Holy Bolt. But let's go into... The Knights will take damage. And these casters will take damage. The Venom Lords will not. You have to strike them directly with
I need mana.
With the foe. So this might work okay in Chaos. But this is going to be for specific farming locations. The damage is definitely better. I do like that. There's a little more with the penetrate change on the holy bolts. That helps out a decent bit. But until they add demons to the list of monsters that actually can take damage from the holy bolt, I don't think foe is going to be that good. But I guess you could look at it in this sense. It's like any of the other changes that are made. They added certain areas that you could farm now that are TC 80 or monster level 85. So maybe that was the intent. But I don't think this changes foe a whole lot. The unfortunate part of this is the unintended consequence. I think in the PvP arena, this is going to be a nightmare to deal with. So. We'll see how some of those guys try to push back on it. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but maybe not. We don't have. I think there's going to be another iteration of patch changes after this week's testing. Maybe we'll see another update on the following week, and then I have a feeling we're going to see ladder after that. But again, my take, I really wanted this to be better. The cast change is nice. The Holy Bolt penetrates nice. But I still think they need to add damage to demons from the Holy Bolts. Maybe that's too much. Hard to say. But I think that's the direction it needs to go. But again, we don't get everything we want. I was really wanting to make a faux pally, as some of the guys that follow me might know. It's okay. The farming with this is a little better than it was before, but I think this still needs tweaks to make it viable as an in-game farming build. Okay, just as a quick recap, as you guys just saw, the individual aura changes I don't think are going to really make that big of an impact on playstyles. You might be able to play around with some of the different auras and level with zeal to augment zeal attacks, that sort of thing with added damage. Foe, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe the Holy Bolt Penetrate is enough. I don't think it is unless you include demons in that list that can take damage. Right now it's just undead. But maybe it's enough. We'll see how it plays out. And I don't see them adjusting that particular skill before release, so maybe something further down the line. Again, with Foe, I think PvP is going to be impacted greatly, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of complaints about Foe in that area of the game. Unfortunately, I don't think they really took that into consideration when they made these changes. So we'll see how it shakes out. I have a feeling we're going to hear about it into ladder once people start getting to the phase where they start PvPing a little more. But we'll see. Outside of that, any suggestions you guys have, make them in the comments. Let me know if there's other builds in the Paladin arena that you think might be viable. I tested what they changed for the most part, and they're okay. With the exception of the one-offs with the whole Arden thing, I don't think as totality they make that much of an impact. But we'll see how it shakes out. Maybe they'll make some adjustments here in the upcoming week, but I expect to see these particular changes probably just go straight to ladder. So we'll leave it there. If you guys had enjoyed the video, give me a like and subscribe. Join me again on Discord, link in the description. I live stream 5 to 6 days a week. My schedule is in the description, so hit me up on live stream. We usually have a pretty good group of people playing along the same time I am, and it's a good time, so join me there. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Keep on farming.